We're setting up a young person's reference group. What we want is a group of young people that we can talk to and listen to around what you think is going well for young people in Sefton, what things you might want to see done differently, and the messages that you would like to share amongst your friends and peers, so young people like yourselves.
The recent SEND reforms put children, young people and families at the heart of service design and delivery. And in Sefton, young people with special educational needs and disabilities are seizing the opportunity to get involved, explaining the reforms to their peers, customising the local directory of accessible services, and offering advice to the local authority through a reference group whose members come from mainstream and special schools across the borough.
We want there to be a mechanism for young people to communicate with us what their hopes, fears and aspirations for the future are, so that we can feed that in to how we develop as a service and how we infiltrate that across the authority. Claire, have you got something that you really want to aim for in the future, or something that you're passionate about that you do now?
I want to be a sports development manager.
And you're halfway there, aren't you?
Yeah, halfway.
And it's absolutely invaluable that we listen to our children and young people, no matter what their needs are or the level of those needs. They have something to contribute, and their thoughts, ideas and views need to be central to that process. Has anyone got any ideas they would like to add to the ground rules for the group?
If someone's got like a different belief than you and you disagree, don't just call them out on it.
Okay, so respect that people have different beliefs and different points of view. I hope that this way of working will demonstrate that although we have to follow systems and procedures, we can still do that in a person-centred way. If we needed to contact you and get information out to you about what was available for young people, what would be the preferred way you would like us to do that?
I think phone.
By phone, okay.
Local authorities have a statutory duty to publish a local offer, setting out the support they expect to be available for children and young people with SEND. Sefton's local offer sits on the Sefton Directory website, and although it's full of useful information, it can be rather difficult to access for many young people with special educational needs and disabilities. So, once again, Sefton have called in the experts.
At the moment, it's very wordy and there's a lot of text on there. So to make it more accessible, we've decided to develop an app and using our young people from Sefton to help us with that.
We've got an app, which is something that we've developed for Sefton. It's on the phone. But actually, I think you guys would help us to make it much better and much more user-friendly for young people. What do you think I mean by user-friendly?
We've done some workshops with our schools and across the borough and asked our young people about the local offer, and they picked out their areas of interest, and we're going to focus on those on the app. So it's simplified and a gateway into what would be interesting for them.
But it doesn't stop there. The app has been specially designed so that Sefton's young people are able to create their own content and customise it so that it's relevant and engaging to its target audience.
What was interesting about this one?
It's the Grand National Trophy.
Oh, wow.
We provide training to our young people so that they can upload content themselves. It's about them, it's for them, so they can actually go out to facilities and make videos themselves and upload them. And also they'll be able to show the facilities to other young people from their perspective.
It's a much more accessible way of young people being able to access information. Most young people these days either have a mobile phone, an iPad or something similar, and hopefully it means that the information being provided is a lot more fun and will encourage young people to be interactive and to share it with their peer groups.
Education, health and care plans are all about you.
There's nobody quite like you.
I like dancing.
I like football.
I like video
When Sefton commissioned an animation to explain the SEND reforms to their young people, it was only to be expected that the young people themselves would take centre stage.
We've drawn up a storyboard using some of the young people's art, which will come alive in that animation.
You might choose somebody you trust to speak at your meeting and give your thoughts and ideas.
And many young people from across the borough have been able to join us in doing voiceover, which will form part of that animation.
At the end of the meeting, everyone will agree a plan
about how they can work together to make sure your needs are met
and that you can reach your goals. Don't worry if you don't want.
The idea being that to include children and young people, you must reach out to them and not make the assumption that local authorities can get the message across without including the people that are affected by the issues.
So you can be there if you want to and have your say.
To ensure that young people's views were captured and recorded throughout the whole process, Sefton employed a graphic facilitator who created a permanent visual record of the young people's interests and their hopes and aspirations for the future.
The graphic facilitation is a visible tool that can demonstrate to local authority officers, to key partners that we work with, to young people themselves and their families, how we've collected the views, and we can revisit it and build upon it. It also, in many ways, holds us to account because we can check back to see whether we've incorporated in the service what the young people have said and whether what they have shared with us has made a difference to how our service develops and grows in the future.